Before we get into the show, I wanted to take 30 seconds to thank the New Trick podcast for having me on their show last night for a segment called 5 Things That People Do That Piss You Off. I had a really good time talking about things that piss me off, like people who use their cell phones in the movie theater or people who bring their young kids to Vegas. The host, Steve, comes from a background of sports talk radio, and he's joined by his buddy John, who co-hosts the show. Together, they put on a great podcast where they get to talk about things that the format of their old radio show didn't allow. The episode that I appear on is episode 14, and it comes out on Monday, April 25th. Please give their show a listen. It's called The New Trick Podcast. And now, on with the show.
The following program is intended for mature audiences.
Welcome to Faces and Aces Las Vegas, a podcast where we share great Vegas stories and talk to the people who make Vegas a fantastic place to visit. I'm Chris, and this episode is a tip of the hat to Vegas podcasts. I wanted to pay a little tribute to all the podcasts that came before me and welcome all the new podcasts that have come up after me. And one person who's been around for, God, too long.
2 years. It's like in dog years or podcasting years, right? It's the same, I think. So too long.
Joining us today is my buddy Adam from the Vegas Fanboy Podcast. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me.
And blog.
And blog, yes. I'm a blogger.
Yeah.
Very impressive now, adding that to my resume.
So how have things been, man?
Things have been really good. Really busy on my end, but a lot of fun. I finally have my next Vegas trip booked. It kept getting pushed back, but I'm happy to at least have something cemented.
Nice. Sounds like fun, man.
Yeah. Yes, it is.
So I'm having you on because we're kind of celebrating Vegas podcasting. You want to give a quick rundown of your show for new listeners to this?
Yeah, of course. My show has in mind kind of people that are a little bit more frugal when they go to Las Vegas. Frugal, not cheap, is kind of what I say. So people who are, concerned with setting, a limited budget and having a lot of fun, but just kind of maximizing that value. I know, just like you, Chris, when I was starting the podcast, I knew there were other Vegas podcasts out there, really good ones. So I wanted to be sure that I was doing kind of something a little bit different. And it's resonated with some people, so I've been having a lot of fun doing it. More fun than I anticipated, actually.
Yeah, it is a lot of fun. And, one of the cool things, like you and I have discussed before, community. It's a really cool podcast community to be a part of. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, I mean, just as an example, one thing that the guys from, Mark over at You Can Bet on That, over the weekend, he saw that this podcast wasn't submitted to Google Play yet, and he gave me a heads up saying, hey, I haven't seen you there. Wanted to make sure that you knew that it was up and running. And I thought, man, that's a class act. That is such a good guy. Yeah, just looking out for another podcast. So it's really cool.
Yeah, that's standard Mark is what it seems, too. Those guys, very welcoming. They, of course, welcome me into the community. But it's great. Everyone kind of sharing each other's shows and the audiences kind of overlap, very much overlap for a lot of the podcasts. And so I know they have a good time, too, when we kind of talk to each other via the podcast or just, online, and a lot of fun interaction out there.
So what are some of your favorite podcasts that you listen to, Vegas podcasts?
I listen actually to all the Vegas podcasts. I think all the ones that are running, I listen to.
Wow.
Which is a lot right now. I thought when I first started that I was kind of saturating the market a little bit. Yeah. Then after me, quite a few more came up, which is good. I think it's really good. People are getting a lot of different takes on different issues and different reviews. There's a ton of information out there, so it's been really good. I do have a couple favorite episodes, though, I can share with you if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. What have been favorite episodes of pod? Okay, it could be yours or it could be others. What do you find memorable in the Vegas podcasting?
My favorite episodes, I think, I'll start, well, they don't really need any plugging because everyone knows who they are, but Tim and Michelle of 500 by Midnight, they did a handful of episodes ago, maybe it was like a year ago, like a tour of Las Vegas. So they stopped in every casino, and they were talking about why they liked the casino, kind of the pros and cons of it. And it was just, I thought it was so creative, really cool. This was right before I started podcasting too, so I kind of really always got me in the mood to podcast. So I really liked that one. One that just came up recently, the Vital Vegas podcast. Everyone knows Scott. He's got that very successful blog. But his last episode was he went to Sherry's Ranch, which is a brothel outside of Las Vegas. And I'm not someone that would partake in that. I have to say that publicly and both privately, just as a disclaimer. But Scott he's a pretty charming guy. I admired the way that he went about that episode, and when he was kind of given the tour of Sherry's ranch, because it can be kind of a sensitive subject, and he was very honest with kind of the preconceived notions people might have about brothels, and he was asking very honest questions of them, and he was also very sensitive towards kind of their profession. But he was very charming, and the girls that were there really seemed to like it, and he got a lot of really good information out of there. And I don't think it's going to change anyone's value set listening to that episode, but I learned a lot of information I had no idea about, and I really just enjoyed that episode. And then the last one, the You Can Bet on That guys, they were my kind of entry into the Gambling in Las Vegas podcast. So when I first started kind of searching for Vegas-related stuff, they came up, and I listened to kind of all their episodes. And so it was really cool a couple years later to be on their show, and then for them to be on my show and kind of do a crossover. Because, it's like 2 years ago, I was just listening to these guys having a great time, and now all of a sudden I have my own show, and they're on it. That was just really, really fun for me.
Yeah. You named out a few really great podcasts. The ones that I've been listening to have been yours. Let's see, I've been listening to Mark over at 360 Vegas, and ever since they added Tony, the show just took off like a rocket in terms of energy. And I mean, it's always been good, but Tony the chemistry between Mark and Tony is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. They have fun. And so I just have fun listening to them have fun.
Yeah, just cracking each other up. Yeah, I also listen to You Can Bet on That, and another new one that I started listening to is Vegas Bright. Have you checked them out yet?
Yeah.
Great show. Yeah.
Well, I get upset when someone comes in and 2 episodes into their show, they have better production value than I do after 2 years.
Yeah.
So
it's just
it makes me angry, right?
It's just not fair. It's just not right.
No. Yeah.
There are so many other great podcasts in terms of Vegas podcasts. I mean, Tony has another show called Vice Lounge Online. There's Tipping the Odds. There's so many to name. You know what? I was going to say there are too many to name, but hold tight. Give me 15 seconds. I'm going to run through the ones that I'm aware of. There's also the Downtown podcast. You called out 500 by Midnight. There's Gambling with an Edge, Gamblers Book Club, Living in Las Vegas, Vital Vegas. I think I said Tipping the Odds already. Vegas Gang, Vegas Tripping, Vegas Tourist, Somewhere in Vegas, and Comp to Vegas. Altogether,
Comp to Vegas I really like too, yeah.
Altogether, there's about 18 Vegas podcasts.
Right.
And the way that I look at it is different people have different tastes. Everyone's not going to like Pizza Rock, although they should. But some people may prefer Secret Pizza or one of the other great pizzas.
Domino's, whatever.
Right. And so just whatever podcast is to your liking, to your taste, hold on to that one and enjoy it, So there's a comprehensive list of all these shows that I believe you have on your blog, right?
I've got most of them, yeah. I don't think I have all of them, but I have most of them. I can definitely add more, though.
Okay, well, cool. I could also send you the list that I have because there's also a few defunct ones that I wrote down that I get a kick out of listening to, too, because it's kind of like jumping in a Vegas time machine and hearing them talk about issues of, say, 2003 and...
Right. They're getting upset about resort fees all of a sudden. We're like,
you could see where it all started.
Yeah.
So there are some other great podcasts that have long gone that I'll go ahead and send you a link to those as well. And if you want to go check out one of those shows, please do. I mean,
absolutely.
I was going to say, my favorite moment in podcasting, I think, has been listening to You Can Bet on That. And Dr. Mike just has the craziest naked stories.
Yep.
Not that Dr. Mike gets naked, but just for some reason, when he goes to Vegas, nudity finds him somehow.
You're right. Yeah. A lucky guy. Or maybe unlucky. It really depends on, I guess, the subject. But
you just have it, just wherever he is, just naked people seem to find him. So that's one of my favorite, most memorable things that I remember from podcasting so far. But you have other, as a Vegas podcaster, you've been out to Vegas a bunch of times. Do you have fun Vegas stories that you wanted to share with us?
I mean, I've got the one. I mean, I have multiple, but I have the big one.
Yeah.
Which I've I've kind of told on my show. I think I have. I'm not really sure exactly. 50 episodes in, I don't know what I've talked about anymore.
Yeah.
But I enjoy sharing the story because it was so different, and it wasn't necessarily my idea. So what happened was I was going out for my bachelor party. This was a few years ago, and someone in my group, we were kind of 10 strong, said, hey, it would be funny if we all bought Elvis suits and wore them one night. You know, we'd always seen the buskers and all that stuff, and it's not really something we aspire to be, but we thought, no, this would be funny if we had 10 of us, you know, all wearing an Elvis suit, right? And then so I think I also said something like, hey, it would be fun to like rent motorcycles or scooters or something, just ride around the strip. I thought that'd be fun. And then someone goes, well, why don't we just do both? And so that became the hot idea. So I mean, with my group, this is all buddies from high school. We've been friends for, you know, over a decade now. And it was like, once we latch onto an idea, it's like, that's it. We're doing it. You can't back out. Yeah. And so literally the next day, one of my buddies went on Amazon and bought 10 Elvis suits and just put it on his card. We're like, all right, we're not turning back now.
Like Elvis suits, like the white rhinestone jumpsuits?
The white jumpsuit. So they weren't too classy, right? But they were all, we had the white jumpsuit. I'll send you a picture too. Yeah. The white jumpsuit. It had a belt, like a red scarf, just absolutely hilarious. It came with the big gold glasses too.
Nice.
A pretty full getup. So one buddy, he consolidated all 10 Elvis suits into one piece of luggage to bring out there, right? Uh-huh. And if this wasn't like how telling the trip was going to be, you know, we arrive in Vegas and we're all like so excited to, you know, just be there and get to the strip. My buddy had packed these Elvis suits in pretty much the most nondescript, standard black piece of luggage. Like everyone owns this bag. And so he just grabbed a random bag, didn't even check the tag to make sure it was his, and we just like went out the door. Now we were all trusting him that was the bag, but it ended up not being the bag with the Elvis suits in it. It was just some random lady's bag. And so we're about halfway to the hotel when he gets a phone call from this woman who had our bag. So what happened was she opened up this bag and there were just 10 Elvis suits sitting in there. Which to me, I guess if I do that, it's like jackpot. Like you can keep my luggage. I'll take this one and have some fun.
Yeah, she's calling. I need my pills. Bring me
right, exactly.
My bag.
Yeah. 10 grown men-sized Elvis suits really wasn't going to help her get through that weekend. So we didn't do it on like the first night or anything. We wanted to like settle in. But I think it was the next day we actually went out and rented the scooters. And so it was actually kind of funny because not everyone was like comfortable in the scooters. So I've been on motorcycles before and I've got my license, so I was fine, but there were a handful of people that was like their first time on anything in two wheels in like a decade. So we're just going around the neighborhood a little bit trying to get our bearings. But so we all picked up these scooters, parked them, and we decided, all right, we're going to put on the Elvis suits, we're going to get on the scooters, we're going to just go up and down the strip. And we did. And I've never felt like more of a celebrity than this moment. If you can imagine, I mean, imagine just 10 guys wearing Elvis suits just on scooters, little Vespas going up and down the strip. Yeah. So what was happening was people were, you know, on the crosswalks, right? The taking
pedestrian bridge
there, the pedestrian bridge. Yeah,
right.
They were all taking pictures up there. We had people getting out of their cars in the middle of traffic to get like selfies with us, like in the middle of the roads. We're like blocking traffic there. But then at one point, there was a cab like protest. It's like a protest or a strike or something like that. So cabbies were blocking all of Las Vegas Boulevard going north to all the traffic. They were going really slow, less than 5 miles an hour. They just, you know, they had their feet on the brake and were just kind of letting it off. I mean, and this was a good couple blocks worth of cabs. However, we were so in the moment and, you know, knowing how scooters operate, we had always just been kind of weaving in and out of traffic. So we kind of look up, and these guys are honking the whole time to like bring attention to their cause. Right. We didn't realize it till we were about halfway through that we were stuck in the middle of this protest because we had been weaving in and out of the cabs. We didn't even notice because there's so many cabs out there. It's, you know, yeah. And so people are like yelling at us, but the cabbies think they're yelling at them and like support, and they're thinking they've got all the support from the pedestrians on the sidewalk, and they're not seeing us kind of flying through like out the traffic and stuff
because you guys are splitting the lanes.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So we're going in and out. One thing that was was crazy. Again, some of these guys were kind of a little bit tenuous on the bikes. So we're going over kind of behind Flamingo by a Stage Door, that casino there. It's got the big kind of billboard of the drink specials and stuff. And I was pulling up the rear. Again, we're like 10 deep. And everyone pulled over into Stage Door, like that little alley there. I'm like, oh, crap. Like, I thought someone fell. And, now we got to go to the hospital dressed like Elvis. Like, this is going to be a thing. But what happened was there was a couple getting married and taking pictures, and the photographer flagged us down. And he's like, we would love it because it's a Vegas wedding if you guys would be in these wedding pictures with the couple. This is all totally true. So
That's awesome.
I actually have pictures. He sent them to us a couple weeks later, actually, of us with this couple. Like, we're posing in the background and like with them. We're in this couple's wedding album. This day that they'll never forget is us just sitting in there. So that was hilarious. But in order to take the pictures, to ride on these scooters, there's not a lot of place to store stuff. So most people, my brother had a backpack, and we stored, our wallets and phones and stuff like that in the backpack to keep it safe. My brother put the backpack down. We were taking the pictures with this couple and forgot to pick it up and grab it again before we left. So we turn out of Stage Door and go, turn onto Las Vegas Boulevard there, and we're about halfway up the strip. So we're right about where the Venetian is. And he realizes that he left the backpack in the alley. Ooh. And it's got everyone's phones and, all this stuff. So, wallets. And so at that moment, without even saying anything, everyone just broke off. And I can't imagine looking at this where you're just seeing 10 Elvises on scooters and then everyone just peeling off and going every which way. Everyone just tried to find the fastest route. Surprisingly enough, the bag was still there when we got there. This had to be at least 20 minutes later.
Wow.
Super lucky. The panic that set in was then matched by just the complete euphoria of finding this bag and realizing that everything was still in there.
Yeah.
So after that moment, I should say before we got to the Venetian, we were trying to go through like the parking lot area in the Venetian. And when you get off Las Vegas Boulevard, there's kind of a gate with some security guards just kind of watching the gate, or parking guards, whatever you want to call them. And they weren't going to let us in, and they were making like a big deal out of it. And we're like, oh, these guys are being really kind of jerks or whatever. Like, all right, we'll let you in as long as you sing an Elvis song for us. So again, all 10 of us just start belting out, I can't even remember what song we sang, just belting it out, and they're just laughing their asses off.
Everybody picked a different Elvis song.
Yeah, exactly. People in front were singing one song, I was singing something different. That's actually true. That is actually what happened. Because when we met up later, I'm like, what song were you guys singing? Because I was singing this.
I was going Hound Dog. What did you do? Love Me Tender?
Exactly, yeah. So that was just absolutely funny. So we decided after the whole bag situation, it was getting dark and we didn't want to be out there, at night on the scooters. We're like, let's just park these damn scooters. After this moment, we just got to get off these things. Yeah. So we decided we're going to, keep the suits on. And so we walked over to Bellagio. We're staying at Flamingo. And we decided, let's just take a little tour in our suits. We're going to walk from Bellagio to Planet Hollywood. And that's not a far walk.
Yeah,
right?
It's not too bad.
No, it's just like a little block, and you just got to cross the street, right? Yeah. It took us, I want to say it was close to an hour and a half to get from Bellagio to Planet Hollywood because we were taking so many pictures with people.
Wow.
Just everywhere we turned, someone was tapping us on the shoulder, like, we need a picture, we need a picture, we need a picture. And it just, it was one after the other. We couldn't, get done with the picture soon enough, right? Yeah. So it was an hour and a half to get all the way to Planet Hollywood. We actually... In the middle, there was a guy just singing Elvis karaoke in front of the fountains. He was just collecting tips. So we jumped in there and started singing with him, and he collected more tips. He was super happy. It's the only time I've ever supported a busker in Las Vegas was that time. But I think my favorite moment of the story was we actually finally made it to Planet Hollywood. We're walking in, and this young guy's about my age is pushing his grandmother out on a wheelchair. And he comes up to me, kind of taps me on the shoulder. He goes, listen, it's my grandmother's 90 years old. We're out here for her 90th birthday, and she's the biggest Elvis fan. And he's like, can you guys just come and say hi and take a picture? I'm like, buddy, we will do whatever you want. So we sang, happy birthday and a couple Elvis songs for her, and she was just on cloud nine. I'm like, this was worth it. It didn't matter all the attention we were getting from, young, hot chicks, just singing happy birthday to this 90-year-old woman who's just enjoying herself. Was an absolute blast. But
oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah, and it was just one of those things where nothing too crazy happened. Well, I guess a couple crazy things happened, but just, the attention that we got, how much fun we had because we decided that we're just going to do something, a little bit goofy, a little bit different, and really just kind of have fun with it. We had, they've got all those girls out there dressed as like showgirls and like sexy cops and stuff looking for tips. And they were asking us to take pictures with them. They were just getting in pictures with us.
Did you make them pay for it?
We were like joking, like, you guys got to pay us like $5 now a piece, right? It's like $50 total. $5 per Elvis. It was funny though. We, after all that, we went back and changed out of the clothes, but we weren't too long gone in the room, and so we walked back out of the room and start walking around, Las Vegas a bit. People were like, "You guys are the Elvis guys." Who were just in like our plain street clothes, but they kind of still recognize us from it. But I think that story kind of proves that you can just do whatever the hell you want when you're out there, and as long as you're having fun, you're not hurting anybody, people are going to go along with it and really kind of enjoy the moment with you. And I'll never be able to duplicate it. I don't ever want to, but I'm really happy that we had kind of that experience.
You're right, because that is the spirit of Vegas, is coming from a tourist point of view, because there is this big, giant communal party, let's all have fun together feel out there.
Yeah, exactly. And everyone was kind of in on it. You know what I mean? And we could have been annoyed with taking so many pictures, and it became a bit much after a while. I mean, it was, like I said, I never felt like more of a celebrity. Everyone was, trying to get in pictures with us. But man, I mean, that's why you go there, right? To see these goofy things, to do these goofy things, and have a story to tell when you're done. Yeah.
Yeah. Now I have to ask, do you have a pretty killer Elvis impression?
I don't actually. I don't think any one of us did. We didn't, because we didn't even wear like wigs or anything. Like, they were just our normal. I don't have any hair anymore, but back then, I had some hair. We didn't even wear wigs. We didn't even wear like good shoes. You know what I mean? But it was just kind of the spirit of what we were doing. People just really enjoyed.
Right, but you had to, when you were singing, do a little bit of karate stance and...
Oh, of course. Yes, that goes without saying. We had some liquid courage to do all that, right? I probably thought my Elvis impersonation was fantastic when I was out there, but I know it's not.
And of course,
I'm sober right now.
Right. And of course, liquid courage after you park the bikes.
Yes. Oh, yes, of course. Yes, that was the one rule. Actually, I was very concerned about that. I said because given how dangerous this trip can be driving, like no one's drinking anything that day. Even we picked up the bikes at like noon, and said no one's having a sip that morning.
Because that's super dangerous to get loaded and get on any kind of motor vehicle. So please don't do that.
Right. Yes, don't do that.
Man, I gotta hear it. Let me hear it. Can you break down a little bit of King?
No, there's no way. So I'm going to embarrass myself like this with all these listeners.
All right.
You come out, you see me in Vegas, you give me a couple drinks, and then I'm sure I'll bust something out.
Cool.
That's not a euphemism. I mean the Elvis.
Fair enough. All right. So following up your story, coming up next on the episode, we're going to have another story that comes from Michael from the Vegas Bright podcast. Did you hear his episode a couple ago of his first time trip to Vegas?
Yeah.
We took a little bit of that. We trimmed it down to about 10 minutes. And as you know, Gallagher Steakhouse is also one of my favorites. So when I heard that, on his story, I said, oh, I'd love to use this story for the show. So that's what's coming up next. And one of the other funny things about about that episode, I believe it was episode 4 of the Vegas Bright podcast, the way he tells the story, it's just so fun to listen to because there's so much awe and wonderment about the way he recreates his first time in Vegas, although that was, a story from 20 years ago. But it's just so fun to listen to. So that's what we got going next. So, Adam, buddy, I appreciate you coming on the show. I want to say thank you. Thank you very much.
See, that's far better than I could ever do.
I know. I did
far better.
I felt a little funny.
I know you're trying to bait me there. You're trying to bait me to get it. I'm not going to do it.
Oh,
I will say, though, I will say that I still have the suit. And so I don't know what occasion it's going to be, but I'm going to break it out at some point again. I'm not sure. Maybe your 50th episode. We'll see.
Oh, man.
There you go.
So, thank you, buddy. Appreciate you coming on the show.
Of course. I'm so happy to be here. I'm glad your podcast is going well. I enjoy it very much. And I'm glad I could share my goofy story. And I hope people go out and maybe that's motivation for them to just be a little bit goofy, have fun, and create their own story.
Thanks, buddy. Thank you very much. That one felt right. That one felt better.
It did. It was good. That one was good.
Like the idiot that I am, I got a little too focused on trying to coax a little bit of Elvis out of Adam, and I forgot to give him the opportunity to plug and promote his website. So you can find Adam's podcast at his website at vegasfanboy.com. You could also find his podcast in all the usual places, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, etc., etc. And you could also follow him on Twitter at vegasfanboy. Since I already set up the next story while I was talking to Adam, I'm just going to jump right into it. Here's Michael from the Vegas Bright podcast to tell us what happened in Vegas.
So we get to Vegas, and I remember being blown away by the fact that the second we got off the plane, we were greeted by slot machines at the airport. We weren't even out of the terminal yet. Like, we just walked off the plane, and went through that, little tunnel thing you got to walk through that connects to the building, and get out, and boom, slot machines. I had never actually seen slot machines before in real life. And so I was just like, what? Are you serious? Like, these are slot machines? What's going in the airport? And I remember just being surprised. It's like, how desperate is this place for your money that the second you arrive, they want you to start unloading your cash? And I took that as like, see, this is what I'm talking about. And we got into the cab line, which wasn't really that bad at all. And we got whisked away to the Venetian, because that's where my roommate at the time chose to stay. And he had this suite, and I was lucky enough to crash on the couch of that suite so I can have a taste of luxury, but not too much of a taste of luxury. And what I liked about it was that there was I think 3 flat screen TVs. Even though I wasn't going to, make use of the master bath, I still had my own bathroom. Well, it's a half bath, but I had that. So in case I needed to go in the middle of the night, I didn't have to wake anyone up. And, it was a nice room. It had a bar in it. It had a little table, and it had a couch and some chairs. But I did manage to be afforded the use of the master bathroom when I went to take my shower. And I remember it was just the most amazing shower. And I remember the towels themselves. It's like they hardly had to touch your skin for you to be dry. And I don't know what it was. Maybe it was the thread count or the type of thread that was used. But it was like you can just lightly graze your body with one of these towels and you were dry. And that you're just dry. Boom, done. And I just remember the shower had dual shower heads in it, and had a little bench in a shower, which to me was like, wait, it could actually be like this? This exists? I think I skipped ahead, actually, because we got to the Venetian, the room wasn't ready, and we had to wait around, and we waited around outside where the cabs had dropped us off, and there was a bunch of people sitting there waiting for their room to be ready. And I remember that when we were in the Venetian, being hit by the smell, which some people minded at the time. I personally didn't, because it was new to me. And I was just like, wow, it smells like there's a smell in here. That's actually a good smell. And I remember my roommate explaining to me, that casinos do that as a way of marketing. They put different scents into their casinos and stuff, so that you can scent or being triggers the strongest memories or something like that. So that's one of the things that they did. And I remember just standing in the lobby of the Venetian, just being surprised just how luxurious it was. Even the lobby was luxurious. I just couldn't believe everything that was happening, and I was slowly starting to love it. We got our keys for the room, and then you do that awesome little walk you do from the lobby where you go down that long hall into the casino. And I remember that long hall, as I call it. So it's got this floor that makes you want to play Q*bert, because it has these pyramid-y designs that are all collapsed into each other. So I see it, I think of Q*bert. But I remember that looking up at the ceiling, I was blown away by these murals that look like they just came out of the Sistine Chapel. These wonderfully painted murals on the ceilings, and I was just I remember dragging my suitcase behind me and just looking up, just in awe and wonder of what I was looking at, and just being ridiculously impressed. And then getting to, get this, the casino. And it was game over for me at the casino, because the sights, the sounds, the sound of a casino, You know that sound is the unison of slot machines making noises, playing different theme songs, the winning bells going. It was like a bunch of that. It's like there was a song. It's like the casino was singing a song through these different slot machines, and some points they'd be in unison together, and hearing the crowd gather around the craps table, which at the time I didn't know what a craps table was, getting all rowdy and excited, and just the energy, the overall energy of the casino. And I remember just being like, wow. It went like that, and that's pretty much the order of everything that it went. It's just that I'm walking through, and like everything is like in slow motion in a good way, and I'm looking around, and I'm not even paying attention to where I'm going, and I'm just like, whoa, what's going on? What's up with these girls with the drinks? And just like seeing everything for the first time with an extreme concentrated stare, kind of like when a baby sees its parents for the first time. that really intense look. But I wasn't that intense where I would creep people out, but I knew I was just like, oh my God, I know my eyes were ridiculously dilated. I looked like an anime character. That's what I think. And we got to the room. I remember being impressed with the room. I remember we flipped on the TV, all three of them. I remember looking out the window. The view I had was facing the pool. I remember looking out and just like taking in whatever I could take of what I could see of the strip, which wasn't much to look at. The roommate pointing out to me, all right, that's the Stratosphere, and you see that red thing over there, all right, well, that's Circus. And he's always pointing all these things out, and I was like, okay, all right. And then it was like, all right, so what are we going to do? And he's like, yeah, let's just go out and go explore the strip. And we left the Venetian. I didn't want to leave the Venetian. I was perfectly happy there. And we headed out, and I believe we just started walking through everything. We headed south on the strip. We walked all through these casinos, and I remember at one point it was time to eat. And he had made reservations at a place called Gallagher's at the New York. And I had never, up until that point, had good steak because I was poor. And I can tell you that I had not had a steak of that quality before, ever. So we're at Gallagher's, and the waiter comes over, and Gilbert's like, so what do you want to, do you have any suggestions? He goes, oh yeah, I suggest the cowboy cut. And I looked down, and I saw it was one of the most expensive steaks that they had there. And I was a wise ass, and I was like, so are you suggesting it because it's good or because it's expensive? And then he was like, oh, no, seriously, and a lot of our customers like this and that, and da-da-da-da-da. And I'm like, okay. And so I told Gilbert, I was like, well, I'm not paying $45 for a steak. And he's like, now, you know what? You should probably take his advice. And I was like, I got this, but I try it out and just see if you like it. And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel weird about eating $45 all in one shot. Usually that's like enough for a week. And, and we went back and forth on it, but I agreed on, on getting the cowboy cut steak. And I remember it showed up, and I remember thinking, man, I absolutely have got to get me some of this. And I bit into it, and it was like a heavenly experience. It was almost as if I put that in my mouth, and everything around me had just become quiet, which was surprising because it was noisy, but all the noises just went away. I didn't hear a single sound at all. I don't remember seeing anything. All I remember was just having this extreme contentment of peace, and that everything in the world was okay. And that for all the questions I had in life, everything I've ever wondered or thought, anything I ever put before me and questioned, anything I was ever unsure of, anything about the future, past, or present, the very answer to the meaning of life was answered right there on my tongue. Yeah, that's what it was like. And I gotta tell you, since then, that has been a regular thing that I do on all my Vegas trips, is I go to Gallagher's at the New York, and I have to have that cowboy cut steak. And I have no qualms about it. Yep, It's going to be $45. Yep, it's going to be delicious. But you know what? You will eat that steak and you will not be hungry for like a day. Like, but you know what? Worth it. That steak was so good. My goodness. And that's the thing. Like, I never experienced anything like that before. That's the thing about Vegas to me, is like these new experiences that I've never had. You know, it's just, there's something about it that says, hey, I don't normally do this, but I'm going to do this because I'm in Vegas. And I don't know what it is. I just know that it was like I had supernatural strength. I was able to survive on the very minimal amount of sleep, you know, and it's just amazing. And it's those kinds of experiences that just make me say, wow, Vegas is awesome.
Next up, we have the guys from the Bold and Belligerent podcast, well, at least two of them anyway, Lauren and Mike. They have a podcast that they record out of Las Vegas every week, but the show has nothing to do with Vegas. It's four friends hanging out, having a good time. If you get a chance, go check them out. I should warn you, the show is really offensive. And that's kind of one of the things I like about the show. These guys speak their minds. They joke around. They have fun in this PC world. Things that you're not supposed to say, they say it. And so it's kind of refreshing to hear that. So one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to the guys from the Bold and Belligerent podcast is because they have a unique look at Vegas. They don't work in any of the industry jobs. They just live in Vegas. So I was really interested in talking to someone to get their view of the city as non-industry workers. So we recorded this way back in February on my last trip to Vegas, and something really weird happened in between. About 12 minutes into the interview, Lauren starts talking about how he's getting ready to move with his wife to another part of the city. And we're talking a little bit about crime in the city of Las Vegas is getting a little bit out of hand. Well, since recording that episode, Lauren got robbed. And what makes it really weird is when he's talking about crime in the city, he points out a couple things. One of them being people seem to be coming from LA to rob people in Vegas. There's a lot of home invasion robberies going on. That exact thing pretty much happened to him. Although thankfully Lauren wasn't home when the robbers broke into his house, but they took a bunch of stuff. They tried to break into his gun safe using the tools from his own garage. It's a crazy story. If you want to hear that story, Lauren talks about it. I believe it's episode 87. They actually had to take a couple weeks off of recording the podcast because the robbers stole all the podcast equipment. So their show went down for a couple weeks while they went out and got new stuff. So anyway, just kind of one of those weird things that happened. These guys are really cool guys. They're good guys. Please enjoy my conversation with Lauren and Mike from the Bold and Belligerent podcast. Joining us today, we got Mike and Lauren from the Bold and Belligerent podcast.
I know, trust me, I stumble on that one all the time.
Yeah.
All the time, especially when you get to drinking on the show.
Yeah, exactly.
But thank you for having us, man. I really appreciate it. Love your show as well.
Well, thank you, man. So you guys do a show. It's a weekly show, right?
Right. Every Friday night we do it live. We do it live on like 3 or 4 different platforms. We go live on RadioVegas.rocks. We go live on Mixler, and we go live on YouTube, so you can actually watch and be a part of the show. You can comment live during the show, tell us to abuse each other or whatever, you know.
Pretty much anything you can listen to anything on, we're on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I think we're like products of Las Vegas' dark side. If you listen to our show, there's a lot of, you started out with the fucking, I was hoping you'd be able to curse in this one because your show's pretty mellow from what I've heard, but it's very belligerent. That's why we named it that. And there's a lot.
That's actually a pretty good point. So like the people who listen to this show probably want to know that it is
very,
not for
very
work.
explicit.
It's vulgar.
Yeah, we say whatever we want. We have no boundaries. It's mainly just the whole point of the show is just try and make each other laugh.
Yeah.
And if it means saying something really heinous,
Yeah.
we kind of like
It's gotten bad.
we turn off we're not as bad of people as we seem on the show.
Well, what if you are?
Right, well, Luke, the local asshole.
That's kind of why I threw it up there right in the beginning. So
I didn't even tell Luke we were doing this because I was like, no one wants him there.
Yeah.
I was kidding. He's more than welcome.
No.
I wasn't. He's the cartman. Come on, guys.
Yeah. So
he's like the youth of today. He's young. He's like 5 or 6 years younger than me, and he's like the youth today. He's like fat, video games all day, and he's just a troll. He just he like tries to get people's goat all day. Just talks shit on everybody, and that's Luke. You know, some people love him, some people hate him, but everyone's talking about him, so that's all we care about.
Yeah, you should make that a punishment of his. He has to come in and wear like a red jacket and blue and yellow cap.
Come on, guys. Yeah.
No, but you got to do it when it's really hot. So for the whole show, he.
Well, we've talked about it before, but last summer I wasn't doing too well financially. My wife was in school, and it was like a running joke that like my house was like 100 degrees because we would only run a swamp cooler. Yeah. And it was like every time it was like super hot in the house, we would have a great show because we're all just sweating and angry.
Yeah, we're pissed off.
So
at
now
Lauren
there's like
'cause he won't give us air
now
conditioning.
that my wife's out of school and we're making money, we're like, man, I'm still considering like leaving the air conditioner off and just having it just so hot in there.
Yeah. How many of you guys are on the show?
There's 4 of us.
Okay.
There's me, Mike, Luke, who we talked about, the asshole, and then there's a guy named Josh on the show who we call Low T Boy. He runs the mixer, and like we say he just asks a lot of dumb questions and pisses us off the whole time.
Yeah.
But you know, it fills time, I guess, but it also gets us all angry and we all yell at each other about it.
Yeah. You can't win an argument with him because he's just going to repeat the same line over and over and over again.
Yeah.
He just wants to make you quit, so then you just stop
It
arguing.
works because he's a lot different than the other 3 of us. Like he actually is kind of like a kind soul. He's like religious and stuff, so we pick on him a lot for that. That's why we call him Low T Boy. You know?
Yeah.
It's good mix and it's good chemistry.
Yeah, and like you said, we've known each other for a long time, so I think that's kind of where the comedy. I don't think individually any of us are that funny, but just how we play off of each other because we've known each other so well. That's where the comedy comes from.
Yeah. But before we go too deep into your show, let's find out a little bit more about you guys.
Okay.
Born and raised in Las Vegas?
Born here, moved to Wisconsin, was raised there, and then moved back.
Yeah, I was born and raised.
Cool.
My parents moved here when they were young. They pretty much they grew up here too, and they've lived in the same house since I was born. They still live there, and my life's pretty boring, really, other than my podcast.
But I mean, that's part of the point of the show because we're trying to show people that Las Vegas is not just a place where you go and eat, drink, gamble. It's that kind of stuff. Like people live here.
Right.
Yeah.
I always find it funny because a lot of people that I talk to, like you, for instance, I bet you know a lot more about Vegas from like the Strip and like downtown and all that than I do by far. Because we pretty much stay, like we live in the northwest part of town. We stay up there. We do our thing. Other than me, I do drive around town all day because for my job. But so I know the streets and all that stuff. But we don't go out. I don't go to nightclubs. I don't do any of that stuff.
Yeah, we'd rather just go buy 12-pack and drink.
Yeah.
Beat
play
each other with
pool.
sticks. And,
Yeah.
No temptation to go into industry jobs, the dealing, the bartending.
I tried it. Right after high school, I got a job at one of the older casinos up between Henderson and Boulder City.
Yeah.
It's at
Railroad
Railroad
Pass.
Pass. Yeah. And it was at the time it was owned by MGM, and it was decent. It wore on me because they don't have any flexibility on schedule. Moving up in the company is almost impossible unless you actually like devote your life to this job, and I'm not going to devote my life to bussing a table or serving people. So
Yeah.
I can see the appeal, and I think I would for sure go into an industry job if I just never got presented with it. When I was 18, I got the job that I'm at now, and I've been there for 10 years this year. So, and it's a city job, so I've kind of got it made. But, I can see the appeal of working in a casino and stuff like that, or like even valet. I hear a lot of people here make a lot of money doing valet, depending on where and servers at like high class restaurants make a lot of money here, a lot. And I've always wanted a job that you got tips too. I've never had a job where you get tipped.
Yeah, I don't think I have either.
it's
It
nice.
just sounds nice though, right? Come home with a bunch of ones. It's like you're a stripper or something.
It's nice.
So do you plan to retire, like, or are you thinking that far ahead? Like, do you have any desire
As far
to
as
move to another?
in Vegas,
Yeah, I
staying
mean,
here.
you got a government job, so you're staying here, Mike.
I'm
you ever
getting the
have-
hell out when I can.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
To where?
Utah, somewhere green, I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as it's out of the city.
Yeah. What kills you? The heat.
People, too many people in the same spot. Just
Yeah.
can't do it.
Yeah.
I lose my mind every time I'm driving home from work now because people can't drive and they're just.
It's not
cutting
even
out.
it's not even that crazy here though, because I just went to San Francisco this past week.
Oh yeah, well I mean other places are crazy.
I go to California, I come back here. This is like heaven. I'm like, dude, there's so many people there. L.A., San Francisco, and like trash all over the place. Not sorry to crap on where you live.
Oh
but-
no, LA's a hellhole.
right? It is, man. And when I come here, it's actually not that dirty in Vegas. Most areas, like it's pretty well taken care of. There is people, but not nearly as many people as a lot of other places.
That's why I don't like going down.
It has its bright points, but I've definitely, like you said, oh, you have a government job, you'll never leave. I don't know about that because I almost did leave recently.
Yeah.
We almost went to Idaho just because my wife has horses. We need horse property, and like you can get it cheap there, and she loves outdoorsy stuff and all that. So she's not really a city girl. I don't mind it, but
I mean, there's a couple places you can move to just 30 minutes from here.
right.
Where
Well,
you
we're
got
going to
a lot
move
of
to the
that.
far outskirts, the far north part of town out there where you can still get horse property, and we're making so much money together that it'd be dumb to move, you know?
Yeah.
That's what we've decided, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, LA is just a mess, man. I mean,
Uh-huh.
and they see, and even Hollywood's not as nice as they make it look like in the movies.
No. Even Spider-Man's outfit is disgusting if you get close enough, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, you sleep in this, don't you?
You guys got some janky Spider-Mans out here too.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
yeah.
We have janky everything.
Yeah, at least now they're like, they have to actually like get designated areas. And it was pissing me off. I don't know. I don't like the whole dress up and we'll give you money crap. I don't like it.
There's a lot of like weird looking people, and then you have like the weird old ladies that like put on the tit tassels and fucking swing them around and shit. And you're just like, I'm not giving you any kind of money. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
I feel like there's an STD just waiting to jump on me as soon as I try to hand you money
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, I've seen some saggy tassels for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and there's down here the bums they're more fun. Like if you go to
Yeah, they're gone.
yesterday I was working in Naked City, like real bad old part of town, like Bonanza and like Main Street out there, and that's like tent city with all the bums. You know, I don't know if you've been down there. They live down there. There's like a homeless shelter and stuff. But yeah, I've seen some stuff down there. I talked about it on the show. I saw a guy like masturbating on the sidewalk, like right there for everyone to see. I'm like, grab him, like, oh, that's nice. You know?
I will give you that though. You guys do have really hardcore bums. Like your bums when I walk around and okay, let's go homeless. I won't go bums. Let's go. I'm leaving that in. But your homeless people, man, they make you sad. Like the homeless people in LA, a lot of them, they're just kind of
A lot of younger guys that are just like
dude, you
already
could
giving
work.
up. They just want free.
Yeah, they could work, and they make
Right.
jokes too. Like they'll tell you a joke, and I'm like, they're like happy bums.
Uh-huh.
Is what I'm getting at. Like like California cows.
I want to
happy
see a
cows.
sad bum. Damn it! I want to see you.
That's here, man.
I want rock bottom bums.
That's what you got here. Oh man, I watched the video. The other day, and you guys have a whole bunch of homeless people who live in the sewers underneath
Yes.
the city.
Oh, we do?
There's
They're
a
not-
city underneath this city.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's the channels for the water that go under the strip. They have to clear that out for New Year's every year because they have everyone with beds, and they build like platform beds.
Well,
and
I
they
mean,
build
it
their
rains.
own city under there.
It rains so rarely here that like you're pretty safe being in a water,
I
like
feel-
a drain gutter here. You know, like you're not going to get flooded out very often.
Yeah, but there's tarps, and they have, like you were saying, they build platforms. So when it does rain, they just climb up there in like a
Oh.
bunk bed and just sleep there.
Yeah.
Hey, we're locals. We know the dark sides of
Yeah.
Vegas. You know, like
What are the
we've
dark
had
sides?
altercation with bums and stuff like that. When I was a teenager, my buddy, we've gotten chased by bums.
Oh, I have down where I work. I have bums come by all the time. They all ask for cigarettes, and the same guys are like, "Oh, I just got out of prison, man." And it's like you've been getting out of prison for like the last 6 months, dude. Keep asking for a goddamn cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of them. There's some creepy ones. We had one had a bomb threat at our store because the bum said he had one in the bag. We were like, "Is he joking? Is he just stupid?" So we
Yeah.
had to call the cops on him. But yeah.
Yeah, what are
Crazy.
the dark sides to the city that we don't know about?
There's a lot of road rage here. I've noticed, man. Just from my teenage years when I started driving to now, and I don't know if it's me, maybe I'm the common denominator, but I've almost been in so many fights in the street, and it seems like it's not necessarily my fault. Some of my teenage ones, yeah, but just people, like I've seen people throwing stuff at other cars out the window, and like I think there's just a lot of people that they've got nothing to lose here. You know, they come here, they blow a lot of money, or they're here because of that reason. So I don't know, a lot of people that are like angry, like they go from 0 to 100 real quick here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and like out of the 4 guys on our show, 3 of them have been shot at.
Yeah.
I'm the only one that hasn't.
Yeah.
Out on the street or
Yeah.
With guns, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually with Josh. I don't know if Luke might have been there.
Their story,
Yeah.
Josh and Mike's, is more of just a crazy neighbor story. You know, it could have happened anywhere, but Luke got shot at by just some crazy person.
Yeah, and it gets bad. There's some crazies with guns, and there was a point where people will pull guns like hunting rifles out of their trucks in the
Wow.
parking lot. Gonna
Wow.
shoot people, and it's just like, okay, I'm gonna go inside here. And just,
I know.
But-
Another reason why I wanted to potentially move to Idaho too is the crime has been definitely going up here. Like a lot more home invasions. If you watch the news here, a lot more home invasions. A lady in my neighborhood just got kidnapped this morning, and they were looking for him, like whoever did it. And I'm like in a nice neighborhood, and some
Yeah.
lady got kidnapped like right down the street from me this morning.
can you carry here?
Yeah.
open carry, yeah, and then you can conceal carry if you get a permit. Yeah, it's more of a peace of mind because like with the road rage and everything, I've had people pull me out, like force me off the road, rip my door open as I'm trying to lock it or whatever, and it's scary just sitting there thinking like I have no way to defend myself if he snapped or just anything. And
Wow.
then I've had a couple guys come up to doors and they'll start yelling help, 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 trying to open the door, and then you're just like, nah, I'm good. And then you have the dog go. You have to have a dog here too.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Yeah, a dog will save a lot of, I guess, robberies, if you want to
Actually,
call it.
Deterrent.
Hate to
Deterrent, yeah.
Yeah.
bring up LA again, but I think a lot of you notice I've noticed on the news a lot of these home invasions have been happening here. People come from LA here and do this stuff. I don't know if it's because then they can just run right back or what's going on, but it seems like that's happening too.
Yeah. I mean, what do you hate? Like, because I think about 30% of the people who come to Las Vegas are from California, not necessarily just LA, but
Yeah.
San Diego. What drives you crazy about the people who come into town?
Just the fact that they don't.
You can tell
it's
they're from out of town.
Well,
They drive like assholes, or
dude, if don't even
Sorry.
get me started on don't get me started on
So
California.
basically,
Don't
if
get me
you
st-
have a California plate, yes.
Yes, don't
Yes.
get me started on that because I'm like, every time I'm like, God, this person, and then I look and it's California plate.
It's either the plate or the lack of use of the turn signal.
okay.
Like they'll just all of a sudden be
Oh, yeah.
in your lane. You're like,
Well, yeah, because the traffic there is worse, so it's just a lot of the manners go down. But I think what you were saying about people that come here to drive you crazy is just the fact that they don't treat it like it's theirs. You know, like you see people throwing trash out the window, or just they act differently than they normally would. You know, like more angry or just in a hurry to get wherever they're going. You know.
and they say Nevada, that drives me up the wall, dude. I swear.
That's
to
what
God.
he's picking.
Yeah.
Forget the road rage.
Yeah.
Nevada.
But you usually tell who's out of town and who's not, or from town and all that. But it's
because they're on vacation, or the perception of Vegas, it's the city where you go crazy. You can just,
Yeah.
you know, or at least that's what they're selling on TV. What happens here, stays here, and that kind of stuff.
But I mean, we don't end up in a lot of, other than just driving around town, people not, either looking at their GPS or on their phone or not signaling to get over.
Yeah.
That stuff will drive you crazy. But like we said, we don't go to the touristy areas very much. Like, definitely don't go to the Strip. Like, we don't go down there.
It's gotten to the point where we stay locally to like closer to our houses. Like there's casinos out there too. There's station
Yeah.
casinos,
Right.
and we'll usually, if we want to go gamble or go drink or go to the movie
Oh, yeah.
theaters,
Don't
we
get it
go-
twisted. We still gamble.
Yeah, we
and
still
do
do
a
all
lot
that
of, we
stuff.
enjoy
Yeah.
Vegas from the outskirts.
We'll gamble from the gas station.
But
For
downtown
nickels.
is awesome. Like, we go downtown and we have a good time down here, but the Strip itself is just like the only locals that are down there seem to be looking for trouble. Like, they're taking advantage of people that come here from out of town. They're handing out porn. It's just a lot of dirty, dark stuff down on the Strip itself nowadays, and just tourists. So it's just, there's nothing for a local person trying to have fun to go walk the Strip right now.
Yeah. We just took a tour of LA recently. We've lived there for 10 years now, and I just never really done it. Like, I still haven't been to La Brea Tar Pits. I don't know why anyone would go there.
I've been there.
but-
It's pretty cool.
Have you?
Isn't that funny? That's how it works, right? You've been to more touristy stuff here, and I've been to more touristy stuff in LA probably than you.
Yeah,
have.
exactly. Exactly. You just never tour your own hometown.
Right, because
So-
you get locked into your own thing, and you're not on vacation when you're at home, so you're just doing your work, and you're going home, and you're living your life.
Yeah, you stay within the 3 square miles of your home.
Right.
And that's part of why you guys probably started the podcast,
Right. Yeah.
to keep yourselves entertained in
Exactly.
your own
Yep.
area.
Well, except Luke. Luke's got to drive all the way from Boulder City.
How
Yeah.
far is that?
That's about 45 minutes from his house, 45 to an hour.
It's a really cool town. It's kind of like out by the dam. Like, if you
Yeah.
head 95 south and you keep going, like, you'll hit this little town called Boulder City, and it's nothing but like older people live there. Like, you can't buy a house there unless you're on like a waiting list.
Yeah, and
It's a really small, cool town. It's got a little main street with like cafes and stuff. You
There's
should
no
check it out.
gambling. They
Oh.
have no gambling in that town.
Huh.
Because it used to be the old, kind of like the houses for the people working on the dam, the workers.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where everyone stayed. And then Las Vegas was the red light district. And that's where everyone went to gamble and get hookers.
And they actually have a pact there where they have like an agreement where they cannot expand anymore. The city does
Yeah.
not grow. It's as big as it is right now. That's why the houses are super expensive there, and you can't get one. But believe it or not, Luke lives there with his mom.
Yeah, well, no wonder he's pissed. He's got to fucking drive 45 minutes to get to the show.
Right?
And
Well,
he's
wait.
surrounded by old people all day.
Yeah, right?
I'd be pissed too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do want to share with everybody a little bit more about your show. We touched on it a little bit.
Yeah.
How'd you get started?
I've always, like I said, I've been doing my job for 10 years, and like my job consists of driving around all day long. So I got into, Howard Stern, Opie and Anthony. I got really into Jason Ellis. You can hear the influences of Jason Ellis' show with The Punishment and all that stuff on our show. And I got really into radio shows, Ron and Fez, and then I started getting into podcasts like Joe Rogan and Joey Diaz and all these different podcasts, the mainstream ones. And then I don't know what it was, kind of like you said, looking for something to do, like boredom kind of thing. And Josh was over my house and he was working out, and I was just like, we're going to start a podcast. And he's like, okay. And Josh isn't the type to like get shit done. So I was just like, I'm buying everything. I went on Amazon. I bought everything because I knew otherwise it wouldn't get done. I just bought it all. All the stuff came to the house. And then like a week later, we did our first episode, And since then, we've pretty much been going strong for 80. This will be 84 episodes this week.
Yeah,
And I think honestly, all of us still love it and look forward to it. It's kind of like an identity of ours almost.
Yeah, it's nice to know on Fridays you're like always going to be doing the podcast.
Right,
like
and
last week I was kind of like in withdrawals. So I'm like sitting there going like, I could say so much shit right now, but I can't. So
Do you hold stuff back? Do you write stuff down throughout the week?
sometimes I'll write it down in my phone. I have a little thing. I'll write stuff down, and then usually I delete it before then or something. But I mean, it all depends. I kind of just play it by ear. And
It's crazy how addicting podcasting is, though. I'm sure you've noticed, man. It's just like I half the arguments I get in with my wife is because like I'm so obsessed that I can't shut it off.
Yeah.
Like I do 90% of, like, not to throw these guys under the bus, but I do 90% of the crap that's involved with it. I do all of the networking. I do posting of the episodes, the artwork, all that stuff, any pre-production. I do all that stuff. So it's just like, and I can't get enough of it. So it's just like,
he's sick.
Yeah, I love it and hate it.
right?
Yeah.
That's what happens, and then they get to just love it because they get to just show up once a week, have a good time. Not to be fair, I kind of ride Mike and I make him come over when he's not working and help me come up with some stuff. But
But that is one of the things that I do like about your show. You guys actually put time and effort into putting together a show.
Yeah.
There's content. There's there are topics. You do the research and you bring it to the interesting topics to the audience.
I wanted it to be more along the lines of a radio show than a podcast. That's how our show feels. It's got segments.
Exactly.
It flows. There's not a lot of dead time. In fact, sometimes I think we covered topics too quickly. I'm like, we could have explored it a little more, but it's like, no, on to the next thing. Boom, boom, boom. Keep going.
It's tough though trying to find like a normal median between going down the rabbit hole too far on certain things and then trying to, if you go too quick or too fast. So it's fun.
Yeah, ours is more along the lines of a Corolla or Ron and Fez, like I said, or even Jason Ellis. It's like that.
Yeah, because I know Corolla comes from radio, so he's basically forming.
Yeah.
And-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It makes it easier. It's just like as soon as you start to hear some dead air or something's dying, we just move on to the next topic. That way it's never stale. We can just keep going. Boom, boom.
Yeah, we don't try forcing issue. Like if there's a topic we're talking about, we don't try forcing it and making it funny or anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And for that matter, everyone has to bring their shit. You have to bring. Okay, first things first. You have to bring content to the show.
Right.
Second, if you don't, you get called out on air for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, we
pretty
have
much.
we have an impromptu intervention segment we do. We've done on each person at least once. Some people two.
I think I got
Mike's
2 or 3
gotten
times.
2 or 3
Yeah.
because he's fucked up. He did a no call no show on our episode, or
Yeah,
because
I
he got
remember
too drunk and went home and didn't show up for the show. Didn't tell us he wasn't coming. So the next episode he showed up. He got an intervention. We all attacked him. We worked it out on the air. So that's what. Yeah, but I mean, Luke's expected to bring his. We have a segment called Shitheads, so where it's just like crazy news stories about dumb people. He's expected to bring that every week. He always does. Sometimes he's writing them as we start the show, but still. Like you said, each person brings their own thing.
And it amazes me, like he has the whole day off and he's now writing it.
Oh yeah,
that's what kills
Luke in a
me,
nutshell,
but,
though.
Yeah.
How much of it is played up for the mic?
Luke's persona is definitely played up. Just tell you right now, it's. Don't get me wrong, he's still a dick, but not nearly as big of a dick.
He knows that we will punch him off the mics.
right? Yeah, yeah. He has to.
He understands that we will. Like
There
the
is
mics
some
aren't on
face-to-face interaction he has to be with some people. So yeah, he can only.
Yeah.
He'll crap on you a lot harder if you're out of town.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to face you.
Yeah.
You guys ever really legitimately get pissed at each other on air?
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Where like the mics go off and then everyone's just quiet?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
I
no,
had an
we-
awkward. We did one episode at Josh's house. Every other one's been at my house, and that episode I happened to get into it with Luke big time. I think it was episode 12. I mean,
Yeah.
to the point where I was telling Josh, like, I'm going to punch your cousin. Like, I'm not kidding. Because I'd had a few beers, and he just said the right thing and just kept poking at me.
And he knew it, too.
And then what was funny is, like, I didn't have a ride home. So Luke had to give me a ride to my house, and then we didn't say a word to each other the whole ride. Oh.
Yeah.
What do you think is the highlight, like your best memory from the show so far?
We had an erotica writer on. She made her way around the podcast community, Blue Carson. She wrote like a erotic novel about Disney, like having sex
Disney.
around Disney and stuff.
Yeah, Disney
and, like,
theme rides and all that stuff.
Yeah, so we
Stuff
had
that she did?
Yeah. She
Okay.
no.
some of it was fiction, some of it wasn't.
Yeah,
apparently.
she won't tell us,
Right.
so we don't know
But
what
anyway, she has this sultry voice, and and we had her call in on Skype. We were one of the first shows she went on, and we did like the dating game with her. So we had Luke and Mike compete to go on a date with her.
Yeah.
And like we had her read one of her excerpts, and we had like porn music playing in the background. It was it was pretty.
It was
good
so
stuff.
subtle that like no one could really hear it, but then you heard
Yeah.
like some of the
Yeah.
saxophone going on.
That and some of the interventions, But that one kind of pops out. That one we got a lot of feedback on. A lot of people said it was funny. So
What episode numbers are those?
that one was
30-something,
34.
right?
It's also, we've had the comedian Steve McGrew on.
Mm-hmm.
He's a pretty big comedian, and we've had him on our show twice. So those were definite highlights too. Super cool guy.
He usually comes out once a month here.
Yeah, he was at the Brad Garrett's Comedy Club at the MGM, staying there for a week and doing that comedy
Factory.
spot. And I pick him up in my pickup at the MGM and take him to my house, and he does the show with us. And
That's
he's
so
just
cool.
so cool, super down to earth guy. And
Okay, so let's see. We got in the spirit of your show and you guys coming on the show, I brought a bag. This is actually Aaron's. So this is Aaron's contribution to this segment. It's a bag of Doritos Roulette.
So you're giving my contribution as bringing a bag of potato chips to the show.
Yeah, but this is brilliant, dude. This is I love this. We got this a while back, and we've been trying to work it into the show since almost the beginning.
bring it on, man. Let's see if it can hold up to our hot sauce on our show.
Okay, so what this is called Doritos Roulette, limited time only bag, and it says caution, some of the chips are very hot. And on the back it says most chips, Doritos nacho cheese, flavor you love, but there's a hot chip in every handful. Do you eat another one and risk getting burned? That's the game. So I don't do very well with hot. So for me, this game is just going to be really painful to play. You guys, how are you with hot?
Not good.
Yeah,
but-
not good either.
But we're up for whatever.
We'll give it a shot. All right. And so the game that we're going to play is we're stealing this game from the Kevin and Bean show. I want to give credit where credit's due. Give me 1 second. I'm going to adjust this.
We may as well give credit to Jason Ellis for we have Dice of Doom for whenever you lose a game. It's basically a ripoff of Jason Ellis's, I think he has a Wheel of Doom or something like that. I haven't listened to him in a while, but it's similar. We pretty much ripped him off.
Yeah.
We have different punishments, though,
But what we're going to do, it's a game from the Kevin and Bean show called Lick Lisa. And Aaron is going to play Lisa in this. And the way the game is played is Aaron playing Lisa. I'm going to ask him a question where the answer is a number. Aaron is going to guess that number, and you guys are going to tell us if he guessed too low or too high. If you are correct, we're going to dig in and grab a chip each, and hopefully not get the hot one. If you're incorrect, you guys will grab a
on.
chip. Okay.
Let's
So are we
think
both
about.
deciding together, Mike and I?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you guys can talk it out, figure it out.
All right, so
discuss
don't
it
jump.
on-
There's no time limit, right? Yeah, I don't want to be shooting out answers and be like, oh,
Yeah. So the first question that I have for Aaron is, and they're all Las Vegas related questions. As you guys are the locals, you'll have the advantage.
Okay.
maybe.
Yeah, right. Maybe.
What is the population of Las Vegas? Lisa.
I would say, I don't know.
He's looking at that computer.
12
Watch his eyes.
12 million. I don't know.
Okay, so we just have to guess if that was
Yeah. Did he guess too high or too low?
too high.
He guessed
Too high.
12.
Yeah, for
What
sure.
is it, like 2 point something, right?
No, I know what it is. It's
You know
low.
what it is? What is it?
I think it's like almost 400,000.
600,000.
Okay, so
Oh,
that's
because
Population
that's
of
not
Las
including
Vegas.
North Las Vegas and Henderson and all that.
yeah. I'm
right?
sure if you bunched everything together,
I think it's like 2
Yeah,
million.
you're
if you
thinking
bunch
Clark
everything.
County.
Right.
yeah.
I was a little off.
Yeah, you're a little bit off, and also you fucked it up for both of us because now we both have to eat a chip.
You're only about 11.5 million off. That's it. It's not bad.
Oh, shit. Those are out. Okay, here we go.
10-second rule.
You got to eat the ground chip.
I'll get a grab chip.
Is it hot?
Nothing. No, I got nothing. It tastes like a regular
It
Dorito.
looks like his is hot.
That's good.
Nothing.
Yeah.
All right, you guys are lucky.
Yeah, by the
Go-
way,
go
sorry for
gamble
eating
after
that.
this.
Huh?
Go gamble after this.
Yeah, seriously. Okay, we'll go round 2. In feet, how tall is the stratosphere? Lisa.
I don't like these questions. They're not fair. 28,000 feet.
Whoa.
Is that big? How big is that? I don't know.
I think that's way too high.
Okay, I mean
'Cause I-
12,000. Okay, let's say 12,000.
Still too high.
Yeah,
Is that
still
your
too
answer?
high.
12,000.
12,000 feet.
Still way too high.
Yeah, I'm gonna say too high still.
I don't think it's more than a mile. And what is it, 5,000 feet in a mile?
Yeah,
Yeah, so I think it's below
probably
5,000
like 2,000 or so.
feet. No, I think it's below 5,000 feet, though.
The height of the stratosphere is 1,149 feet. Thank you, Aaron.
Right on.
Because, yeah, if it was that tall... the
You need to start
airport-
liking these questions. You're gonna get one of them hot chips soon enough.
I think it's a joke. None of them are hot.
Yeah, I'm okay. I feel a little bit of a burn, but I think it may be residual.
Okay.
I don't think I got a hot chip. The punishment might be eating the floor chips. Okay, question number 3. How many guests will the MGM Grand hold, Lisa?
Why am I the only one answering the questions?
Because you're Lisa.
You're Lisa.
I'd say there's 6,500 rooms at the MGM.
Is that too high or too low?
That's
that-
yeah. I don't know.
I think that's too low.
That's a good guess.
I think it's
Too low, you think?
I think
Ooh,
that
that's
might-
a lot. That's a lot of rooms.
6,500 rooms. Let's go for it. I say too low.
You say too low?
I say
don't know
too-
if I can back you on that. All right, fuck it. I want a chip anyway. Yeah. All right, I'll say too low.
Too low.
The number of rooms at the MGM Grand is 5,044.
Yeah. See, that was a good guess because
That
that
was
tough.
close.
6,000.
All right.
Yeah, that was a good one.
All right, give me a chip. Feel left out. I want some chips. I think I got like nacho cheese or something.
They taste just like regular Doritos.
Pretty
I wonder
tasty.
if they get less hot over time because we've had this bag for like 6 months.
I wonder how many of the hot ones are in here though. Maybe if there's only like 4 of them, but they're like extremely hot.
Yeah, they missold that because I found news stories about kids taking that to school and sharing them with classmates and classmates having to go to the hospital. So I was really looking forward to it.
Oh. Well, you.
We may actually have to bust out the taser.
Yeah, nothing.
Okay, we got a couple more questions.
Whoever
What
gets
is
this
that?
one wrong, stun gun.
Are we doing this?
Guess well, Lisa. Guess well.
By the way, how much does that hurt?
It
Pretty
feels
good.
like needles going in your cheek.
It
ass
feels
cheek.
like something bit you. Like we do it in the butt,
Yeah.
and like we hold it against you, and then we push the button, and it feels like a snake bit you in the ass.
Yeah.
It like penetrates your soul. It's not cool.
You wake up in the middle of the night still thinking about it?
Yeah. Oh no, you do because your butt hurts while you're sleeping.
You'll have marks on your ass cheek the
Yeah,
next
I have
morning.
scars.
Okay. What is the average temperature, daytime temp in Las Vegas in April?
Well, I know that the pool's open around April, May, so I would say the average temp is about 81.5 degrees.
That's low,
That's
right?
a very
That's definitely
specific.
low.
I think that might be too high.
No, that's low. April.
Depends. What year? Because sometimes it gets...
I'm gonna say it's more towards the mid 80s. Dude, in May it's scorching hot.
No, yeah, but you got May, June, July.
I'm saying you're low.
I'm gonna
Go
say.
with me on this one. Come on. I went with you on the last one.
All right, I'll go with Lauren.
It's gonna be like 84 or something.
The average temp in April in Las Vegas is 78 degrees.
Oh, come on.
Right there, Lauren.
Mike's giving me
Right
the
there.
number one sign. Dang, that seems low. It's already like 70 this weekend here in February. I'm gonna look for one of the dark colored chips. See if I
Yeah,
can find a
it's
hot
like-
one.
We're not scared of the bag anymore.
That one looks good.
You know what I could do is I could run out and ask one of the homeless guys on the street to touch one of these chips.
Rub it on your balls, please. Just have him lick it. Lick me, Lisa.
That's actually.
Did it get you? Did you get one? Pretty hot?
Nah, it's not too hot. It's kind of like you can feel it.
There's like an after heat,
Yeah.
but I think it's residual.
Yeah,
We
it
still
might just be
haven't hit
dust
it.
in there.
Yeah, we still haven't hit the hot one if there is a hot one. How many pounds of shrimp are eaten in Las Vegas each day? Lisa.
There's no way that you found an accurate answer for that because all that you would have found is how much shrimp is sold each day.
Lisa's bitchy.
I'm just letting you know. That's a terrible question. Terrible question. How many pounds of shrimp?
How many divorces have you had, Lisa?
Oh, I'm on my first marriage right now.
Approximately the pounds. Come on.
There's a lot of waste here when you consider buffets and such. I would say 8,000 pounds.
I'm going to say that's too low.
Really?
Yeah, because you think of all the friggin' all-you-can-eat buffets
Yeah.
all around town, all the seafood buffets.
Yeah.
Are you measuring the ice too? Is it just the shrimp purely? How does the shrimp
Just
get here?
Shrimp.
It's probably the bags of shrimp as they come off the truck, I would think. So there's probably some ice involved. So yeah, I'm going to say low with Mike. You're low.
Yes.
It's going to be more than 8,000.
According to the website, it is 60,000 pounds of shrimp
Holy.
eaten each day.
Wow.
Told you.
Dang.
That's a bunch of tons. That's 10 tons, maybe?
You're going to go for a floor chip or you
No.
want the bag?
I'll get a floor chip.
It's 30 tons.
You know what's funny is I feel something burning. Like it's
It
getting
wants to
hot.
burn, but it didn't.
I'm letting it swirl around in my mouth a little bit.
Like a fine wine.
Like a fine Dorito floor chip.
We're not scared of this game. That's the problem. And I think I did get a hot one, but it's not that hot.
We can resolve that real fast.
No, I feel it burning. And actually, I might be starting
Now it's
to flush-
burning.
Yeah, I might be starting to flush red a little bit, and I feel the sweat starting to kick in. All right, let's go one more, and then after that, we'll just kill the bag because, like, man, we're almost done with it anyway. We didn't
on.
hit a hot one. In 2014, what was Clark County's gaming revenue?
Man.
I would say 30 million.
Million?
Definitely low, right?
Yeah. 30 million's way too low.
We don't pay
gaming revenue in 2014 for Clark County, not just Las Vegas, the city, the county. What is the money they made from gaming?
Because technically,
Okay, yes, Chris, I'll increase my number. So
Fucking give like a numbnut answer like that. That like maybe the win made on a bad day is $30 million.
Mayweather won that much alone.
As if everyone hit a
Contributed that
jackpot.
much.
okay, 300 million.
Too low.
How do you like that answer?
300 million.
Too low.
Higher, too low.
Too low.
Too low.
It's got to be at least in $1 billion, I would think. We don't pay state taxes because of gaming. So
Yeah. I think it's going to be well above 300 million.
Yeah, it's 9.6 billion. Take a chip.
once again, you're close. You're only about $9 billion off.
Which, by the way, you could tell that we didn't rehearse this.
I'm not so worried about him looking at the computer anymore.
I'm sweating a little bit.
I can see it, yeah. I can see it beating up.
Yeah, I'm getting like all red.
Nothing. I've nothing. I'm telling you, we lost at the game of roulette, Doritos roulette.
Yeah, I just had a hot one, but I'm like,
Now you got to
Yeah.
dump the rest of the bag.
Step your game up, Doritos. Those kids that are going to the hospital are sissies.
maybe I should have bought a bag of Flaming Hot Cheetos.
Let's see if I can find one here. Oh, this one looks good.
It's the kind of hot that you would use to keep yourself awake if you're driving at night and we're falling asleep. You could eat that and be like, oh, it keeps me up a little bit.
Yeah, I just got one.
Yeah, my
It's a little
tongue's
bit.
my tongue's burning pretty good right now.
It's like a tasty hot. It's like,
I've never tried to keep myself awake while driving by eating spicy food. I
Oh,
thought that was fascinating.
you get
there's like 10 other things I would do before eating something hot.
I've definitely opened the
Masturbate,
Sniffy.
roll down the window,
snorting
Turn
hand
up the radio.
sanitizer.
snorting, hand
Hand-
sanitizer. What?
Yeah, you put it right under your eyes, or if you just kind of smell it, it'll friggin' wake you right up. Chew on coffee grounds.
Good to know.
Yeah, that is
Meth,
good to know.
you know.
Meth, crack, cocaine.
And then hot comes in right after meth.
Yeah, that is actually pretty a little bit spicy.
But,
yeah, it's like a creeper. My tongue's starting to burn a little bit.
yeah, but it's not.
All right, it's getting a little hot now. I definitely had a hot one.
Yeah,
My tongue's burning.
We're all taking pulls off of our water now.
yeah.
It's not hot at all, I swear.
What I'm scared of is some of the Doritos getting caught in my teeth, and then like 12 hours from now when it pops out or some shit. Fucking.
Yeah.
All right, man. Was there anything about your show that you wanted to cover? Anything that we forgot to mention?
No, I don't think so. I mean, check us out. We're everywhere. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever. YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube. You can watch our shows. It's more fun because it's a very visual show. We beat each other up a lot.
Yeah. And you can still chat with us too.
Yeah, and you can comment live during it, but you can also watch the replay of the show on YouTube. So
Oh, motherfucker, it is hot.
it's catching up.
Yeah, the YouTube show is really entertaining to watch. I tuned in and I just caught you guys getting hit in the face with a fish.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah, that was a 4-year-old fish, by the way. It was rotten, and I took a slap to the face with it. So
Wait, where are you finding a rotten 4-year-old fish?
my freezer. We went fishing a few years ago and just never ate it. So it was disgusting. The worst part was just the stench in the room.
Dude, I got it in my mouth, in my eye.
Yeah.
I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
As soon as we opened that bag, I was pissed they got rubber gloves. They
We take suggestions from people. Like they'll suggest the most sick things, like, oh, add this to the Dice of Doom. Why don't you get slapped with a fish, or like we're thinking about going and buying a dildo after this so we can slap each other in the face with a dildo.
Oh, is that the errand you had to run today?
Yeah, that.
Mine was getting ammo, but
I mean, you go with the dildo, but you got to lube it first.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. We're gonna get like a vat of lube and dip it.
A vat?
Yeah. A drum.
You got to be a gentle lover.
There's nothing gentle about our show. Why go there?
You know what? You could use mine. I got one here. Hold on.
Oh, sweet. Makes it better. Used dildo.
Yeah. Save us from going to the store.
Still got some lube left on it.
All right. Well, tell the other guys that we say hi, and
Thank you, man.
Really enjoy your show.
Thank you, and enjoy yours as well. And thank you for having us on.
Yeah, appreciate
it. We'll come back anytime
Thanks
if you're willing to have us.
Yeah. I mean, I'll try to come up with a better game. Sorry, this didn't work out. I mean,
it's all good, man.
You would have destroyed Luke.
So, all right, man. Thanks, guys, for coming on out. People at home, please go check out their show if you want. Well, shit, I don't even know how to describe it. It's funny.
If you had a long day and you want to listen to some sick bastards, there you go.
Yep.
If you get easily offended, do not watch.
A better way to put it is these guys have really good hearts and know that they're joking around when you're listening. If you offend easily, go listen to something else. Right. But if you just want to laugh and you don't get offended, check out this show. It's a must.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it for another episode of Faces and Aces Las Vegas. Thanks to Adam from the Vegas Fanboy Podcast, Michael from the Vegas Bright Podcast, and Lorne and Mike from the Bold and Belligerent Podcast. You can find links to all of their shows and websites in the show notes. We're always looking for great Vegas stories. If you have one to share, you can find us on Twitter at FacesandAcesLV. Our email address is contact@facesandaceslv.com. And you can even leave us an anonymous voicemail if you have a Vegas confession that you need to get off your chest. You can call us at 702-381-3657. If you're looking for a new sports podcast, geek podcast, movie podcast, or whatever, check out Podern Family on Twitter, and you're going to find one that you like. That's #Podern Family. As always, I thank you for listening to the show, and remember, what happens in Vegas ends up on this podcast.
You're still here. It's over. Go home.
New Doritos Roulette. There's a hot chip in every handful. Eat another if you dare.
Go.